This world championship does not disappoint. Four straight decisive games in a row. From game 4 to 7, we have got four straight decisive games. And this time, Nepo started with e4 and Ding sprung a surprise with French defense. A suggestion by Richard Rapport. So d4, d5, and we have the Tarash system. c5, knight f3, takes, and we have this knight dance. The knight came from d2 to f3, and this knight came to f3 and d4. In the as is usual in the Tarash. Bishop e7, bishop c4, knight c6, and takes, and castles. Castles and queen e2. Bishop b7, this is a very nice piece in the long term once c5 comes. Bishop d3. So Nepo is preparing for an attack. You can see queen e2, bishop d3, all this aimed at a coffee house attack on the king. Queen is c7, queen e4. Knight f6, defending the mate, queen h4. Now the discovered attack does not work because of queen h7, so you can't do that. So pawn c5. Ding has to go for counterplay because if you just wait, you'll get crushed on the king side. And now bishop f4, picking the queen, queen b6. Here knight e5. So there's tremendous potential for the white pieces. All of the pieces are aimed at the king. So how will Ding defend this? Rook a d8. And here, this is a position where there is so many nice options for white. Computers would play this and probably equalize without much problems. But as a human, this is so difficult for black to hold. Because as you can see, there are so many options. If you are a player with a style of materialistic style, like if you're greedy, you would go knight g4 because you're straight away going for the knight and the knight can't take because of mate. So the only option here, basically, because you're threatening this, is to give up the exchange. So if you don't see any immediate problem with that, if it's an exchange up, why not go for it? The problem with that is black has got enough compensation for it, the bishop pair and a nice knight on d5. But if you're materialistic, you'll go for that. Now, a more attacking player who wants to control and dominate would go bishop g5, threatening the same thing, checkmate on h7. Now, basically, black will have to go rook d4, queen h3, and now black has to go either g6 or h6. So probably h6. Now, if you're really aggressive, you would go bishop h6. Now takes, queen takes, you've got enough play here. Again, it's 000 if you enter this to a computer. But as a human, it's so difficult to play because white's idea is simple: get the rook in and do a rook lift and give a checkmate. So it's difficult for black to play this as well. Black can play bishop e4, but after takes, let's say knight takes or rook takes, doesn't matter. Let's say knight takes, just knight g6. There's a draw here with knight g6, threatening checkmate. So pawn has to take, queen takes, and there is a draw if you want to go for it. Or you can even be ambitious and again go for rook ae1 or rook fe1. And the game continues because the threats are plenty. So that is if you are an attacking player. And if you are let's say, this position, if you are a player who likes to sacrifice, like a gambler, Tal would have played bishop h7, giving up the piece. So basically, knight takes, you get the piece back, and you're a pawn up. But is it enough? If you are none of these players and you are just a player who wants to, like a Karpov style player, who wants to just pass the ball to the black player, what do you do? What are you going to do? I'm just improving my position. What's your move? So he would play rook e1. And this was played by Nepo, rook e1. Now pawn g6. Ding decides to get some defensive structure here. And here comes bishop g5, rook d4, attacking the queen. Queen steps back and queen c7. Pawn b3, stopping the c4 push. Bishop wants to stay on this diagonal. That's a nice move. Queen c7 was also a nice move. Keeping an eye on the knight, preparing bishop d6 and preparing c4. b3, knight h5. So Ding defends well here. That's a solid knight, defending everything. Asking for an exchange of bishops. So Nepo plays f4 and Ding plays bishop d6. Bishop takes bishop is also fine, but you would get a file for the rook. So Ding didn't want that. And now c3, attacking the rook. Where does the rook go? There is no squares, right? So what was Ding's plan? Ding's plan was knight f4. Now there's a lot of exchanges. And in those exchanges, Ding equalizes. So takes, he takes a pawn. Takes, and takes. So what is the material situation? White is right now up an exchange, right? Rook h4. White's up an exchange, but black has got the bishop pair and some initiative here for black. The attack is not really there. There's just few pieces for white to attack. H7 is a threat. So here black played rook d8. Can you play rook takes h7? Not really, because there is rook takes bishop. So this bishop is doing a wonderful job of covering h8. A very nice defensive piece from the center of the board. So rook h7 doesn't do anything. It doesn't work. So bishop e4. Nepo wants to just exchange the bishop pair. Takes and takes. It's still an exchange up for Nepo. But Ding has got play. Ding plays rook d5. And rook went back. So if you go long term, black has got a nice pawn sender and a pass pawn. If these pawns get rolling, then black is fine. So even now, black is doing fine because of the bishop that's defending the square h8. This is a threat, but guess what Ding plays? Queen d6, a very accurate move. Again, you can't play rook h7. If you play rook h7, then comes rook d1. And Nepo would be lost. Because you no longer can defend the rook like this. Your rook hangs on h7. Which means you got to take, if you take, it's mate. I mean, almost mate. King will get checkmated soon. And if you go rook f1, again, rook takes, king takes, there will be problems to the king after king moves bishop d4. So, for example, takes, actually here directly bishop d4. Wow. Takes and queen takes. And it just mate. If king moves, there's mate. So that is why you can't play rook h7. So Nepo played queen to e3, defending his rook. Pawn h5, stopping the threat there. Now suddenly Ding is in control already. g3 and bishop f6, the defensive piece stays. Rook c4, going after the c5 pawn. And here the time becomes a crucial factor. This is move 31. Ding has got 9 minutes for the next 9 moves. So one move per minute. And in this move, he took 4 minutes. He played h4, which is a good move. He's creating some weaknesses on the king. Pawn takes, rook d2. This was a mistake. And here he took 4 minutes, and after rook d2, he's down to 45 seconds. And this is still move 32. That means 8 more moves in 45 seconds to make the time control. So he's in real time pressure. And instead of rook d2, what he should have done was bishop e5. Just keep the pressure and keep the pawn defended. But after rook d2, just rook e2, because queen h2 was a threat, but rook e2 was played. And here came the decisive mistake. The correct move would have been just going back or giving a check, and after, let's say, rook d1, king moves. If king moves to f2, there is queen h2, so king has to go to g2 or rook e1. Rook e1, rook d2 repeat, or king g2, you can just go back to d5. This was a correct way to play, but he played rook d3. Rook d3 was a mistake. Ding thought that after queen takes c5, it's difficult. There is rook d1, and it'll be difficult for the white king. But he was wrong in that calculation. So after queen takes, Nepo played it. Ding probably thought this was not possible. Now rook d1 check was played, but just king g2. Surprisingly, there's no checks to the king. There's no check that black can give. So Ding brought the queen in, but still there's no checks. Rook was attacked, rook moves, defending the f1 square. And white is now up a full exchange. Now the pieces are active, and there's pressure here as well. So suddenly in time trouble, Ding just blundered rook d3, rook d1. I mean, it was here that he blundered. He went rook d2 and rook d3. This was a decisive mistake. And after that, it was just one-way traffic. After rook f2, king g7, just rook f4. And the pressure is just too difficult to handle. And here he played queen c3, and Ding resigned here. He got flagged basically. It was move 37 and he had only 3 seconds left. And yeah, that's how the game ended. Now the symbol win would be just takes, takes, and takes. And white is just crashing through. So that's how game 7 ended. Probably the first time in World Championship that a player got flagged.